A salute to Mike the Tiger, live right here, Gold Ball Sports, Episode 7. The Houston Astros won the World Series for the second time in the last 6 years. Alabama is no longer in the college football playoff hunt. Neither is Clemson. The Motlow Bucks are headed back to the National Junior College Athletic Association Women's Soccer Championship. The Tennessee Volunteers came back to earth on Saturday. And yes, it's been a long time since I could proudly say Jets, 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 Jets. We'll discuss those subjects and lots more. Welcome into Episode 7 of Gold Ball Sports. We're live on this Monday night from the DKI Apex Restoration Studio, along with our producer, Big Daddy Dave, and Ken Keller. I'm Scott Chastain. Welcome in. So, crazy weekend of college football. Shook everything up. Ken, we got no time to waste tonight. This is going to be a quick hour, and we might as well get started with a college football playoff chaos.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that first poll that came out on November 1st, last Tuesday. You know, we had our Halloween special, and I'd like to encourage everybody to go back and look at that, Episode 6. So this is Episode 7. And how fitting is it here at Gold Ball Sports for Episode 7 to have Mike the Tiger, number 7, in studio here tonight. Of course, they've had 7 Tigers at LSU. It was a big night for them down in Baton Rouge, and they shook that playoff picture up Saturday night down in Baton Rouge, Scott.
Yeah. Gutsy call.
Yeah, gutsy call. So let's talk about the seedings for the first playoff. You want to talk about that?
We know number 1 got beat.
Yeah,
on
number
Saturday.
1.
Georgia beating Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Your thoughts about the Vols coming out number 1? Big deal. It was a big deal.
You know, I mean, my thoughts are that's what those people said. Did I feel like we were the number 1 team in the nation? No. Did I say last week that we would be number 1? Yes. So I wasn't surprised. I knew it was illogical, and I felt like it was short-lived, and it was.
Well, my initial reaction when the first 4 teams came out, it was Tennessee 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, and Clemson 4. So that's your top 4, and that's primarily what I was looking at. Naturally wanting to see where Alabama was. They came in at 6th after Michigan at number 5. So my initial reaction was, hey, the committee just did Georgia a favor here. They fired them up. They've got the number 1 team in the nation coming in for this big game in Athens Saturday. And I thought, you know, them being an 8.5-point favorite, but yet being maybe shunned a little bit in the polls in their estimation, the defending national champions being an 8.5-point favorite at home, being number 3 in the initial college football playoff ranking, I think that gave them a little juice.
I personally don't believe in those kind of things, that's juice or not. I think better talent, experience playing in big games for big stakes, and the best defense in the country. I think those 3 things had a lot to do with Saturday's result as well.
Yeah, it's a big football game. Stetson Bennett showed out.
But the playoff, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Now the new rankings come out tomorrow. We get a jump on that. So, you know, let's see. What do we think the rankings are going to be tomorrow?
Well,
and why?
Yeah, you had 1 fail, then you had 4 fall, and 6. So 1, 4, and 6 fail. So you have Tennessee go down. Clemson gets boat raced by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 35-14. Tennessee, of course, fell 27-13 in Athens. And Alabama lost on the last play of the game in overtime against Mike the Tiger and the LSU Tigers, 32-31. So, Scott, 3 of the top 6 teams fell. So what's this poll going to look like tomorrow night? Certainly, I think we can both agree that the Georgia Bulldogs will leap past the Ohio State Buckeyes and go to number 1.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Beat the number 1 team.
Yeah.
And wasn't a rout, certainly, but it was convincing.
Yeah.
It was convincing. Georgia was obviously the better team on that Saturday. So, yeah, got to be number one, Bulldogs.
Yeah, I agree. So got Georgia 1. I thought Ohio State struggled. So I think the committee will put them at number 2. However, I think Michigan has been playing more complete football the last few weeks. I would stick the Buckeyes at number 2, Scott, but they're going to settle it on the field here soon.
Well, I would stick Michigan at number 2. As I think you would.
Yep.
I believe Ohio State will be number 2. They just get that edge all the time because of their history. They won the first college football playoff national championship, and Michigan's got a history of just stumbling their toe somewhere along the line or against Ohio State. So I think the committee tries to play all that in because they don't want to look silly like they do after Saturday with Georgia beating Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I believe Ohio State will be number 2, but I think Michigan certainly could be.
I'll agree with you. You know, and you got to factor in, the results week to week. 21-7 over Northwestern's not very impressive to me. So I think the committee will put Ohio State at 2, but I've got Michigan at 2, and then of course the other team at 3. So whoever's not 2 will be 3 between Michigan and Ohio State. We think it's going to come out tomorrow night in poll number 2, Ohio State 2, and then Michigan 3. And then I've got the TCU Horned Frogs moving on up to number 4.
Well, on the one hand, you ask yourself, if TCU's resume was no better than Alabama's last week, no better than, the teams that were ahead of them, Michigan's, no better than Georgia's, no better than how do they move up over a team like Tennessee, whose resume is obviously on paper better than TCU's. But, I'm a guy that's about the record.
Yep.
And until TCU gets beat, they should be ahead of the team that's lost a game. I think they're going to get beat. History says they're going to get beat. This is all going to work itself out. But right now, I think TCU deserves to be in the top 4. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, major college football teams that are undefeated. I don't know how you could go any other way. If TCU can win the Big 12 championship, I think they deserve to go to the playoff undefeated Big 12 champion. Same thing with Ohio State or Michigan. Undefeated conference champion. Whoever wins the SEC is going to go, even if it's LSU or Alabama or Georgia. It's going to be one of those two. They're going to go, even if it's LSU. And so I believe that, undefeated records play a lot. I think Clemson's gone. They have no right even being in the discussion anymore. Right. I think Tennessee's hanging around in there. I do see Oregon hanging around in there. If LSU gets there, it's just going to be because they're Southeastern Conference champions. They don't have any other path to the top 4.
Yeah, I'm like you. I got TCU at 4 in record counts. At this stage of the season, if you go undefeated, certainly if you're a conference champ, you're going to get in.
Well, and it should be about. And it's always been the same with the polls as well. It was the same with the BCS as well. Is it about where you think they're going to finish, or is it about what you see right now? And if it's about what I see right now, I see Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and TCU in the top 4. I see Tennessee number 5, and I'll take Oregon as number 6. That they lost a game to Georgia early in the first game of the year. Was it 49-3 or something ridiculous? Yep. But they have been rolling ever since. Pac-12 is weak. Still got a lot of football to play. Yeah. I'm with you, though.
And that second tier, I've got it exactly the way you do. I've got Tennessee at 5. I've got Oregon at 6 and LSU at 7. And the reason I've got Tennessee in front of Oregon and LSU, I think it's fairly obvious. Sometimes you try to overanalyze things. I think committee members do sometimes. Just use some common sense. Tennessee only lost by 14 points only. They were dominating the game, but did not lose by 46 like Oregon did in the Georgia Dome to the Georgia Bulldogs in Game 1. And you take LSU, Tennessee smoked them 40-13 in Baton Rouge just a few weeks back. So based on that, Tennessee sitting in a good spot at number 5, but we're going to talk about it here in just a few minutes. They really need LSU to lose that SEC championship game or another game along the way.
So, one of the things that we look at at this point in time is, could 2 SEC teams still get in the college football playoff? Let's go down and dirty on that. All right, so we're going to get down and dirty on this. It's not a debate. Can 2 SEC teams get in the college football playoff?
Yes. I have a couple different scenarios, and here they are. Number 1, if LSU wins out and they beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, LSU's definitely in as the conference champ if they don't stumble one of their last 2 games. Okay, against Arkansas and the last game they play. So they've got 2 more conference tests, and they've got to win out. But they would get in at 11-2 as the SEC champ on merit of beating an undefeated Georgia. I think Georgia also would get in. They would be ranked number 1, but their only loss would be to the LSU Tigers, and they would be 12-1. But they have the advantage because they've beaten both Tennessee and Oregon head-to-head convincingly. So that scenario puts 2 teams in. Here's scenario number 2, and if you're Tennessee Vol, this is what you need to happen. You need to not root for Mike the Tiger. You need for the Georgia Bulldogs to beat LSU in the SEC championship and knock them out. That would give the Tigers 3 losses and catapult the Tennessee Vols, in my opinion, square dead in the playoff picture. Now, what it's going to come down to for Tennessee, the way I see it, I think TCU's got a tough road. I agree with what you said earlier. They've got Texas and Oklahoma State still left on their slate and their conference championship game. I think there's a stumble in there somewhere for the Horned Frogs, and they've had a fantastic season. This would come down in this scenario to the Michigan-Ohio State loser and the Oregon Ducks if they keep winning. So all 3 of those teams, Michigan, strong case, Oregon, strong case, Tennessee, strong case, those 3 teams vying for 1 spot, the last spot. And that would be interesting to see how that would unfold. But one tidbit as of right now, if it came down to a 1-loss Tennessee and a 1-loss Michigan, the strength of schedule as it sits today, Michigan is 71. Tennessee is 21. So they have a 50-slot advantage right now over the Michigan Wolverines. Now, what's left on Tennessee's schedule? Tennessee has 3 of the weakest SEC teams left. They've got Missouri, they've got South Carolina,
Vanderbilt.
Okay, but Michigan, conversely, has number 2 Ohio State left on their slate. I don't know who the other Big Ten teams they are right now. I didn't have time to look at it. But so that's a big deal. So Tennessee's right in the mix. They need LSU to lose, Scott. Those scenarios put 2 SEC teams in.
So speaking of that game, Jared on Facebook says Tennessee's going to need for either Michigan to blow out Ohio State or Ohio State to blow out Michigan. If those games are close, the committee would find a way to screw Tennessee.
There's that Big Ten homerism. I got to agree with Jared that's a great possibility, Scott. You remember what they did with Charles Woodson and Peyton Manning in the Heisman.
Yeah, but that's not happening here. This is not the Heisman voting. If anything, the bias has always been toward the SEC in the college football playoffs. So I agree with Jared partially in that we do need Michigan State or Ohio State to blow the other one out and put that other team back. I think
Good point, Jared.
I don't think there's any way 2 Big Ten teams get in.
Okay.
I don't think there's any way.
You know, if that game is at Ohio State, if they go in there and, you know, it's an overtime game, a 3-point game that's, you know, late in the fourth quarter decided, I could definitely see a scenario. Don't know quite the makeup of that college football committee, but I will be studying that here soon.
I think Michigan wins that game right now.
I
think I'm with you. Michigan has played better football. Mm-hmm. They struggled early against Rutgers and then blew them out. Ohio State struggled against Northwestern and didn't blow them out. It was a terrible, terrible weather they played in, though. So I don't know how much the committee considers all those things, but I think Tennessee's in a good place.
They're in a good place.
If you had asked me, you know, would I take being here before the season started? Absolutely. Absolutely would have took being here before the season started. You know, is 10-2 a great year for Tennessee? Absolutely would be a fantastic year for Tennessee. So, you know, disappointed in the Georgia loss. We'll talk more about that in the SEC rundown. But I think the Vols are still in good shape. That win over Alabama counts a lot in everybody's head. That win over LSU counts a lot. Win over Florida, good win. Tennessee's got those wins. Nobody can take them away from them. But the Vols need to look like the Vols the last 3 games, and they're not playing Georgia's defense, so I expect that. All right? Down and dirty enough for you?
That's down and dirty enough.
You nasty?
That's it.
Need a shower?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the podium. I'll do like Ken last week and put my podium medal on my hat, which, by the way, I wear in honor of all those veterans who have served in the armed forces over our 250 years as a nation. Veterans Day is Friday, so this show runs this week. And I want to thank each and every veteran that ever served, because without you, we would not be free to do this. So thank you.
Amen.
The podium. I'll get started here. Bronze medal. I'm going to hand out a bronze medal to a couple of groups of fans that I thought just made a tremendous difference in the 2 big games on Saturday. I don't know if you've noticed, Ken, or out there, if you've noticed this, or if you sort of take it for granted, but compared to pre-COVID, I think fan excitement is at a peak. I don't think it's ever been higher than it is right now. And I think the fans at LSU and the fans at Georgia prove that. Not that they wouldn't have been crazy 10 years ago had these games been played, but to me, it's all escalated to another level. I think Tennessee has helped do that based on what people saw in Tennessee. Heck, they rushed the field in LSU after beating Alabama. I wouldn't say they stormed the field at Georgia, but the students certainly came out on the field at Georgia. So, you know, everybody's just so glad to be back and to be in person and to be watching these games in person that I just hand out the bronze medal to the fans of those 2 schools. I think you made a difference in your team's performance this weekend and helped beat a team that was ranked higher than you. So congratulations, Georgia fans, LSU fans. You nailed it this weekend. You get a bronze medal.
Well, that's a good, worthy nominee, both those fan bases. You know, it's tough to win on the road in the SEC.
It's getting tougher, man.
It is. It's brutal. It is brutal.
Especially at night.
Yeah. No
Tougher
doubt.
at night.
No doubt. So I'm going to give away my bronze medal here on Gold Ball Sports. And my bronze medal is going to go, I'm going to say this right now because tomorrow's voting day, okay, key day, election day tomorrow. Give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry said those famous words, Scott. Liberty Flames, come up to the podium. What did you do? You won a bronze medal because you defeated and upset one of those mighty SEC teams on their home field. We talked about how tough it is to play. All they did was go to Arkansas and upend. Who was they? Freeze Frame, Dr. Freeze, who used to coach Ole Miss, and the Liberty Flames upset the Arkansas Razorbacks 21-19, and they did not even score a single point in the second half.
One of the great cheaters in SEC history, Hugh Freeze. Check his record out. But yeah, that's great bronze medal recipient. Liberty, which produced that renowned passer Malik Willis.
That's right, Malik Willis. Yeah, the fighting.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah, the Fighting Falwells of Liberty.
The Fighting
Jerry Falwell.
Yeah, I like that.
Fighting Falwells.
Good bronze medal. Liberty. What are they? The Flames?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of like Lee down there in Chattanooga or Cleveland. Yeah, the Lee Flames.
Silver medal time. Now, some of you are not going to be especially happy with me for giving out this silver medal to the Coffee County Red Raiders football team. But hey, look, 100 years of high school football, and this poor school has never, ever won a playoff game. Never. That's, 1969. It's about 53 years of playoff football in the state of Tennessee, and Coffee County had never won a playoff game until now. They beat Rockvale in overtime Friday 27-21 to advance to the second round of the playoffs. They will face Blackman, also in Manchester. Remember, Coffee County is a region champion, so they're going to host. They'll face Blackman Friday night, 7 o'clock. I think they got a chance to beat the Blaze. I really do. I don't think they will, but I think they got a chance. Maybe they learned this week how to close out a playoff win. You know, so many things in sports take time to learn how to do it. And Coffee County learned enough to win the opening round playoff game. I think they're 9-2 now, which has got to be one of the seasons in history with the most wins. They hadn't had too many 9-win seasons if they've had any. So folks in Manchester are happy. I'm happy for them. Hey, we had our 100th year of football. We got the state championship. Coffee County's 100th year of football. Maybe they go win a state championship. Who knows? But congratulations to the Red Raiders. You get a silver medal tonight for winning your first playoff game.
Hey, that's a big deal, winning a silver medal on Gold Ball Sports.
It is in high school football. We know.
Yeah.
How tough it is to win playoff games, even at home. So for them they were ahead and got tied up, went into overtime and won it. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, congratulations to the Coffee County Red Raiders on their first playoff win.
Jared also says if they win, they'll probably have to face Oakland, which is going to be a tough match.
No question if they win, they're going to face Oakland. There's no probably about it. And, it is what it is. If they get 2 wins in the playoffs this year, I think Manchester folks would be happy.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. All right, it's time for my silver medal winner.
Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Mike the Tiger. You take center stage here on Gold Ball Sports. Mike the Tiger, the Bayou Bengals.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Okay, Ed, you can lay off now, Mr. Orgeron. I got you. So I'm going to go ahead and put this silver medal on the Bayou Bengals, Mike the Tiger, and Brian Kelly. And I got to say, look, when a team deserves it, you give them their props. They came out and upset Alabama. I picked on this show last week Alabama to win this game. Alabama's really owned. It's been Bryant-Denny South down there in Baton Rouge. They've kind of owned that stadium, but Mike the Tiger and Brian Kelly came from Notre Dame. He said in the pregame press conference on the field, a quick interview as they came out of the tunnel on the field, he said, I came to LSU to beat Nick Saban. So he was fully confident. He did not back down. His Bayou Bengals play with confidence. Bear Bryant, the ghost of Bear Bryant, was in studio last week on episode 6 of Gold Ball Sports, and he chided Brian Kelly about some of his dance moves and recruiting tactics, but hey, we're going to give kudos tonight. Cue it up, Dave.
I say right foot creep, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch some bad, walk down, face them with that heater. The devil under your feet, you on your way to see him. Stress me when I can't sleep, bang on when I see you. Play with me, you can't sleep, we gun into the sea.
All right, Mike the Tiger.
Man, there's
Tigers.
nothing LSU can ever do to justify playing that video ever again on Gold Ball Sports.
All right, so now we're going to take Mike the Tiger off stage because we're going to give center stage now to Mr. Bill because tonight he's going to make a podium pick. He's going to award a gold medal here tonight on Gold Ball Sports.
Mr. Bill would like to thank Mr. Scott and Mr. Ken for allowing me to step up on the podium and present my gold medal for this week. I had hoped to be discussing UT and Alabama wins from Saturday, but oh no, they both choked. Then Saturday night, I got a call from the Auburn athletic director offering me their head football coach job. After seeing how they treated Coach Harsin, Spot and I decided that our Saturday Night Live royalties were just fine. Derrick Henry continues to carry the Tennessee Titans and be really mean to opposing defenders despite playing with a limited rookie quarterback. But my gold medal for this week goes to Houston Astros manager Dusty Baker for winning his first World Series title as a manager. Sluggo says Dusty is one of the classiest gentlemen in sports history, that he is the first manager in Major League Baseball history to win division titles with 5 different teams, and is the oldest manager to ever win a World Series title. Just goes to show you that nice guys don't always finish last. Uh-oh. Sluggo is looking really mean. I think he wanted to say those nice things about Dusty. Oh, no!
Recipient there, Scott. Mr. Bill has awarded Dusty Baker in the Houston Astros. They win their second World Series in just, 5 or 6 years? And
6 years.
A strong team, man. Jeremy Pena, Jordan Alvarez, and in the game 4, they threw a no-hitter. 4 pitchers combined on a no-hitter. That was only the second time in Major League Baseball World Series history that a no-hitter was thrown in the World Series. Pretty
In
awesome.
what year and who threw that first no-hitter, which was actually a perfect game?
Maybe
Who was it?
maybe Don Larson.
Don Larson. What year?
You got me on that one.
What team?
Dodgers.
Yankees.
Wow.
Yankees? Okay, there you go, Big Dog.
1956.
Okay, 56. A little bit before my time.
I was there. No, wait, that was Uncle Joe. My
All
bad.
right, sleep.
My bad.
There you go.
My bad. Gold medal. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill.
Great job,
Ken.
Mr. Bill. All right, my gold medal. Okay, so my gold medal tonight is going to the Notre Dame Fighting Hornswoggles for their big-time victory in South Bend over the Atlantic Cupcake Conference. Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers, they were exposed. They should not have been in the top 4 of the first college football playoff ranking. We saw them struggle against Syracuse and other teams earlier this year. Bye-bye, Dabo. Bye-bye, Clemson Tigers. And hello, Hornswoggles of Notre Dame, the Fighting Hornswoggles.
They're liable to be second in the college football playoff rankings tomorrow, the way they pamper Notre Dame.
Hey,
right?
how about that? I think they, Marcus Freeman, he's took a lot of heat, and that loss to Marshall, the Thundering Herd earlier this season. And, look, I had to call them the Fighting Hornswoggles. My favorite wrestler of all time, one of them. I like Macho Man too, but and Mr. Wrestling number 2 back in the 70s. But Hornswoggle, the little midget that dressed like the Irishman, he gets in the ring against all the bigger wrestlers, and he just runs away from them and runs under the whole ring and hides, and they can't find him, but you see his little eyes popping out with that little leprechaun hat on. The Fighting Hornswoggles of Notre Dame. Congratulations. You get my gold medal here tonight on episode 7.
All I can ever think of is they're magically delicious.
Yeah.
Good one. That's a good one. We may talk a little more about that Notre Dame Clemson game later. All right, my gold medal goes to the GOAT. Let it roll.
Out of bounds or big plays.
Evans at the bottom. The deep threat. He's not looking that way, but there's a big catch to the 37 by Otten. Gets on his feet and he takes it to the 32 with 24 seconds. To the sideline and out of bounds with the catch is Miller. 19 seconds. Back to the sideline and another catch by Miller as they inch closer. From the 7, looking for the win, and it's incomplete. And they get the flag. They've got the ball set up off the DPI at the 1-yard line.
You've got 3 plays. If you throw them quickly, don't want to try and scramble around or anything. Just throw it away if it's not there right away.
Here's the snap to Brady. Fakes to Fournette. He throws. It's caught. It's in for the touchdown. Incredible. Tampa Bay takes it 60 yards.
60 yards in about 35 seconds. Tom Brady, the oldest player in professional football history. You tell me he's done? He's toast? Now, I personally have never been a huge Tom Brady fan. But as you know from our years together on this in this format, I always like to appreciate greatness when it's here, because if you don't appreciate greatness when it's here, it's gone pretty soon. And then all you get to do is say, man, I wish I had watched more of that great player. Mm-hmm. That's the way I feel about Kobe Bryant. I wish I had watched more in his later years of the Lakers. But Tom Brady, he was just phenomenal yesterday. Look, the Bucs were 3-5. They were headed to 3-6. They were going to be in a real struggle in a really bad division with a bunch of really bad teams, New Orleans and Atlanta and Carolina. But Brady pulled it out. I don't know if you saw that or not, but when they got the ball back, I was like, dude, y'all just messed up. How in the world did you leave this guy 44 seconds? He didn't even need all the time.
Yeah, he's the GOAT for a reason.
He is the GOAT for a reason.
Sure
so
is.
Tom Brady, gold medal, Gold Ball Sports. Well done. All right, let's hand out a participation trophy.
Let's do it. Gold Ball Sports, where participation trophies simply don't cut it.
I think we did that backwards, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
My participation trophy tonight has got to go to a team that we talked about a little bit earlier, the Clemson Tigers. The Clemson Tigers, who despite playing in the All Cupcake Conference, had a golden path to the college football playoff. All they got to do is win these little games that they play against these average to mediocre teams. But they couldn't get it done, Ken. They couldn't get it done. They got blown out. I don't know. When I turn it on, it's like 28-0. Yep. They were just getting blown out. They look like junior varsity team out there, and Notre Dame looked like what Notre Dame thinks they are, which is a great team. What happened to Clemson?
That's a good question. It's like, 28-0, and they were never in the game, and Notre Dame played great. And if it's a boxing analogy, if you want to use that, it was like Roberto Duran against Sugar Ray Leonard when Duran said no mas and quit in the middle of the fight. But yeah, that just takes Clemson, in my mind, out of the college football playoff picture. Now, if they go and win the Atlantic Cupcake Conference, how much credibility does the Atlantic Cupcake Conference have? Who do they got? Who's doing well out of that conference? You look at North Carolina, you look at Florida State, Miami, they've not done much. They're mediocre at best. They could be a conference champion that gets shunned in the playoffs. I certainly do not think the committee would take a one-loss Clemson over a one-loss Tennessee, even if Clemson is a conference champion.
I agree. Everybody knows that that's an easy conference. It's like the Pac-12. That's why you don't see, other than Clemson, that's why you hadn't seen any of those teams in the playoff. Because everybody knows that it's lower quality of football. And Clemson really doesn't have a chance to recover because they don't play any great teams anymore. They haven't played any great teams, and most of the time they play great teams, they get beat. So, yeah. Thanks for participating, Clemson. We'll see you next year.
That's good.
All
So
right, let's
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
give my participation award tonight. So, look, every fan base has good fans, and every fan base has knuckleheads. Rocky Topology on Twitter this week put out Stetson Bennett's phone number to Tennessee fans and said, hey, we can't tell you not to call him, but if you want to give him a late night call or text, just go right ahead. Dave, show that photo.
I got it. It's up. It's
All right, so that photo's up. So what happened was they posted this phone number of Stetson Bennett. He said he got 600 to 700 phone calls and texts after midnight to 2 a.m. in the morning the week of a football game. Folks, that's being a knucklehead, okay? That's interjecting yourself into a game and winning a participation award on Gold Ball Sports. But all you did was fire up Stetson Bennett in that football game, and let's hear what he had to say, Dave, after the game, post-game, about the phone calls and texts he received.
Yeah, it was a pass play, and I think Kenny stepped up and protected pretty well, and then ran, and it was just, I'm sure everybody else knows what it's about, but
I
just
don't.
In a moment, we'll figure it out.
How many phone calls did you get?
Probably 600, 700.
No kidding. Phone calls, not just
Text, everything.
Put it on vibrate. I mean,
Yeah, I figured out a way to hide him all so they wouldn't show up. But
What time did that start?
probably noon.
Wow.
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of messages.
Did you return any?
No, didn't return any. Just sat on them. Ate 'em.
Is that kind of thing motivation? I mean, I know that kind of silly stuff happens all the time, but did it light a little fire there?
I wouldn't say motivation, but it's there's probably something there. Yeah.
Now, after the first touchdown that Stetson Bennett scored in that football game, he mocked those 600 to 700 Tennessee Vol fans. Watch this.
Get a first down around the 3. Bennett, pressure coming. Got away from one man, and now he's going to tuck it and go with it. Got the first down. He might have the touchdown.
It was in this game a year ago that Stetson Bennett showed his legs.
Hey, fans of any fan base, LSU did that to A.J. McCarron a few years back, and they paid for it. You don't fire up a national championship team and their quarterback by pulling them kind of pranks. Just saying.
A couple of comments there. This might seem like a radical, crazy idea, but Stetson, turn your phone off. My God, what are you, an idiot?
Yeah, I mean,
turn the damn phone off, son. What'd you do? Sit there and count 100, 101, 102, 103. My God, that's the silliest thing I've ever seen. I love his mocking in the end zone. I love that kind of stuff. That's what makes SEC football what it is. That kind of stuff right there. And to be honest with you, before Tom Brady led the Bucs down the field in 35 seconds for a win, my gold medal winner was Stetson Bennett. 17 of 25, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that rushing touchdown right there, 13 yards. Oh man, it just showed everything about him. He's a hell of a college football player. Is he a Heisman winner? No. Is he a first-round draft pick? No. But he's a hell of a college football player. I like the participation trophy for the Vol fans. That kind of stuff never gets you anywhere. But Stetson, really, in the future, turn your phone off. It's just that simple.
LSU fans, if you play them in the SEC championship game,
Don't call Stetson.
Don't call Stetson.
Don't call Stetson because you know what?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
He's going to look at every single call and text. You might keep him up all night, and he plays pretty good when you keep him up all night.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
That's
Don't
right.
call Stetson.
That's right.
He should get some sort of phone NIL deal out of that. I don't know how he had.
Maybe
if he was in
AT&T,
Knoxville,
yeah.
he would already have an NIL deal with a phone dealer.
That's a great point. How many times are you going to answer the phone before you figure out there's a trend going on
Dang,
here?
I think I'll turn it off. You know, it's keeping me awake.
Yeah.
Oh, me.
Jeez.
All right, so that's our participation trophies. Now it's time for our weekly SEC rundown, just where we kind of go over what happened last week a little bit, mainly get Ken's comments here. He's our SEC guru. We begin, and we do these by, for the most part, the time they were played. So we begin with Kentucky, Missouri. Kentucky beats Missouri 21-17. Missouri, every game they play is like this. It's 21-17, it seems like. Kentucky, much more comfortable now, Ken, in their place as a also-ran average SEC team. That's their comfort zone. They can win these 21-17 games all day.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's a good call. So SEC East matchup here. You know, Missouri, not an explosive offense, so this fits the Kentucky style, and Kentucky pulls it out in the end, 21-17. So they bounce back from that blowout in Knoxville 2 weeks ago.
Missouri heading to Knoxville Saturday.
Missouri heading there Saturday.
Florida 41, Texas A&M 24. The Gators continue to sort of plod along. They're going to end up at the bottom of the upper part of the SEC. They'll get a decent bowl game, but well, Texas A&M, they just can't pull it together, and you know, that talk about that buyout's getting louder and louder.
Oh, it sure is. You know, we talked about it in episode 6 last week. You know that they've he's got a worse record, he being Jimbo Fisher, than Kevin Sumlin had when he was at Texas A&M. So and he didn't last. And so keep an eye on this. But this is a big win, I think, bounce back win for the Florida Gators. You know, they put up 41 against a good A&M defense. You know, they've been good on defense this year at times, but man, they just no passion and heart. They quit on the season. They quit on their head coach. But a big win for the Florida Gators.
Yeah, I think it was. We talked about Georgia beating Tennessee 27-13. Anything else to add to that as the Vol fan on the show?
Yeah.
I'll just say I'm not crushed. I mean, I was disappointed in our showing. Hendon Hooker obviously had his worst game. Tennessee's line could not block Georgia. Tennessee's receivers could not get separation. When they did get separation, Hooker overthrew them. I think there were 3 touchdown overthrows, the last of which resulted in an interception. Cedric Tillman still didn't look 100% to me. You know, if you're going to have a bad game, have it against the defending national champions in their stadium. Tennessee was going to have a down game. Not that Georgia won because Tennessee had a down game, but Tennessee had a down game. And if you're going to have it against the defending national champions in their stadium, because as we've already talked about, that's when it hurts you the least.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know, Georgia did control this game from start to finish. 14-3 after the first quarter, 24-6 at halftime. They physically dominated. You can change their name to the Georgia Bully Dogs because they bullied Tennessee on both lines of scrimmage. They were the more physical team. Stetson Bennett outplayed Hendon Hooker. There's no doubt about that. Taking deep shots early in the game. I thought it was a big play early in the game after Tennessee kicked a field goal and went up 3-0 in the first quarter. A big bomb from Stetson Bennett to Arion Smith. Tennessee had trouble covering him down the middle of the field. Conversely, the defensive backs for Georgia, not any of this zone. defense. They played press man coverage and said, our guy's as good as yours. They limited Jalen Hyatt, and they put some licks on the Tennessee Vols. So I had the quarterback out. Georgia's quarterback outplayed Tennessee's quarterback. They were the more physical team. And really, at the end of the first half, Georgia got the ball with about 4:55 left. I said, watch. I said, Tennessee's getting the ball to start the second half. They're going to try to bleed this clock out. They drove all the way downfield, kicked a field goal to end the half. I think there might have been a kickoff after that, but they were not going to allow Tennessee to get that 2-for-1 possession at the end of the first half. I thought that was critical, Scott. Georgia showed up to play Saturday.
Sure they did.
They sure did.
Both teams actually showed up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they both
One
showed
out. One showed out.
Georgia showed out.
Yeah, they
Tennessee
did.
just showed up.
Yeah.
We talked about Liberty beating Arkansas 21-19. LSU over Alabama 32-31. I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze in my they did what.
Do it.
Right here.
That's perfect.
Because it fits with this game. Ken, you've been with me in a number of games, and other people that watch games with me know that my instinct is always, if you're the second team to get the ball in overtime and you score and you have a chance to go for two and win it, you should go for two to win it every time when you're the second team to have possession in the first overtime. Remember, the rest of the overtimes, they're going to have to go for two. In the next overtime, you got to go for two, especially if you score in one play. You know, I said it last year at the Tullahoma State Championship game. Tullahoma had an opportunity to do that, to go for two and win the game. I thought that's what they should have done. They didn't. They won the game anyway. But I just always feel that way, Ken. If you got that first overtime, and I mean, LSU scored in the first play. Mm-hmm. And it's like, these defenses are worn out. Yeah. Go for it. Right now is your best chance. You're not getting a better chance. And it proved too. So they did what? That's usually a segment where we point out somebody doing something really stupid.
I have a they did what?
What?
What is Mike Leach doing?
Hold up. Time out. You're going to go right back to Mike Leach, but I want to talk about my they did what that dovetails off yours. Brian Kelly went for the 2-point conversion at the perfect time. Nick Saban did not. Okay, Nick Saban is the GOAT, but he messed up at the end of game decision making on this by not overriding his offensive coordinators. Whoever made that decision, was it Bill O'Brien? Was it Nick Saban? I got to blame the head coach because he can override any coordinator. The 4:44 mark, Alabama went ahead 21-17. At that time, they stayed on the field to go for 2 points, and I said, what are they doing? I texted two of my Alabama friends at that exact second. They forsake the extra point to go up 22-17. They go for two and miss. So that means if of course, the Bayou Bengals score a touchdown and get the extra point, they're going to be up 3 points, so a field goal will only tie the game instead of winning the football game had you kicked the extra point. As it turned out, Alabama fans, that's exactly what happened. I thought Nick Saban exercised poor judgment in that situation by going for the 2 points rather than the extra point there, because Will Reichard would have had the game-winning kick at the end of the game, and it would have got to overtime and come down to that last play.
Hey, you know, that's the same thing you said last week. Will Reichard should have made the game-winning kick.
Two kids kicking.
All right. Each week, I'm fascinated by Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach. Yes. He is the head coach of my West Division team, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And Mike was in rare form this week, Dave. Great call on they did what. Let's go to Coach Leach.
You know, instead of playing hard and getting a first down and getting a play, then, you know, you want to sit behind a shade tree, eat a fish sandwich, and drink a lemonade with your fat little girlfriend.
Jeez.
And now let's show the video of Coach Leach folding up the chairs along the sideline. Classic stuff. Ken, you know, last week, audio's still on, right?
Oh, yeah.
Last week we talked about, Coach Leach talked about his receivers and they're short armed dinosaur arms, right? Well, this week his receivers were so bad he just folded up their chairs where they go on the sideline and sit. Coach Leach went down the sideline and folded up all their chairs and laid them on the ground.
I think he's trying to make a recruiting statement, guys. We're going to go out and get some good receivers and catch the ball.
We're going to get some, and they won the game.
Yeah,
that's the next, That's the next game. Mississippi State 39, Auburn 33.
Yeah, what a comeback by the Auburn Tigers. Now coached by interim head coach Carnell Cadillac Williams. That's a name from the past. The top running back come out of the nation a few years ago, many years ago for the Auburn Tigers, one of the best in their history. They come back and push that game. I believe it went to overtime. 39-33, but a big comeback by the Auburn Tigers, but the Fighting Leeches hold them off 39-33.
I can't believe he said that about their girlfriend.
I can't either.
I mean,
that's politically incorrect.
It is.
Right? Yeah, they get you in trouble these
Bill
days.
Brinkley says Mike Leach is a SEC treasure.
He is a treasure. That's a good point, Bill.
I told him we might have a Mike Leach segment from now on.
We might. We might. All right, South Carolina beats Vanderbilt 38-27. Nobody cares. But South Carolina did get back on the winning side. And, it's important. If you're a fan of a team, believe me, you know that Vol fans know all these things that we say about teams. If you're a fan of a team that's fighting for a 500 record, damn it, you want that 500 record. So that's what South Carolina's fighting for right now. They still got to play Tennessee. But, Vandy's played people closer this year, Ken. They've won a few games. They're playing people closer. I think they're doing some positive things there.
Yeah, they're making improvements. They're being more competitive in their games.
All right. Time is getting short, so we got a couple of more things that we need to do. First of all, I want to get down and dirty again. I think it's too early. Ken thinks it's time. I think it's early. So Alabama's lost 2 games this year. Oh my God! Alabama's lost 2 games. How will they survive? I don't see how those kids have slept since then. Alabama's lost 2 games this year. Ken, is the dynasty over?
The gap's closing. Dave, cue up the pictorial there of Mike McCoy, former Alabama wide receiver.
Gotcha.
Okay. So Mike McCoy says that these kids at Alabama are not hungry anymore, that the NIL has spoiled them a bit, and that they're no longer hungry. So, look, there are some factors that have changed in college football. Has it leveled the playing field? Absolutely it has. We saw that with Texas A&M's recruiting class, but you still have to develop players, Jimbo. This transfer portal, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Teams loading up real quick. We see them one year go 3-9. The next year they're 9-3. Bringing all these recruits in. But look, the SEC West is the toughest division in football. I would put it against some NFL divisions. Maybe that NFC South that we talked about a little bit earlier with 3-5 record winning the division. But yeah, it's getting tougher. I mean, look at the coaches. The coaches are coming there, like Brian Kelly said, Scott, to beat Nick Saban. These are hired guns. When these teams play Alabama, it's their Super Bowl. Look, Nick's getting up in his years. How long can this man hold on with everything against him? When the announcers are in the booth, they're against Alabama. When the other teams come in, they go to other teams' opposing stadiums. They get hazed. Saban gets cussed out. He gets called bad words. They got chants going against him. Blank Nick Saban, and they storm the field when they beat him. So hey, yeah, it's getting tougher. It's getting a lot tougher. I just don't know how much longer that Nick Saban can hold on, man, because the press conference I watched after the LSU game, he looked the most defeated I've ever seen him in a press conference. Ever.
Yeah, and
and it's a regular season game, but it was big because it knocked them out of the college football playoffs.
He got after the fans and stuff too. Nick was angry.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is hard to predict. there's two things that have happened just in the last 2 or 3 years that have completely changed college football.
Yes.
One is the transfer portal, and one is these NIL deal. Completely changed the landscape. The top players are professional athletes now. And so naturally, the people with money are going to rise to the top. It's really going to be interesting over the next 10 years to see where this takes college football, because to me, and I realize that we're in the center of the world of college football. We're in the southeastern part of Tennessee, in the southeastern United States. This is heaven when it comes to college football, but I don't think it's ever been more popular than it is right now.
I agree.
So, Jared has a great
Louder.
point. Jared has a great point again. Saban couldn't make it in the NFL, which is why he came back to college. My thoughts is Saban's already been on the paid players' side of the ball. He knows it. Why is he complaining?
Let me answer that. Jared, Nick Saban was 2-2 against Tom Brady. And he had a 21-0 shutout against him. He made the playoffs, only coached a couple years. Had he stayed there, he would have won a Super Bowl, okay? Let's be real about that. The reason he left the NFL was to jump to Alabama, but he had a spat with the Miami Dolphins management. He wanted Drew Brees. He flunked the physical. Look what Drew Brees did with the Saints after he flunked the physical. He had many, many productive years, one of the greatest of all time in NFL passing history, and he was stuck with Dante Culpepper. I think I would have took off too.
Look, some coaches are college coaches, some coaches are pro coaches. Very few do both successfully. Jim Harbaugh has done both successfully, but very few do both successfully. I don't even consider Nick Saban's time in the pros as any sort of negative against him. He tried it. He didn't like that atmosphere. Look, the guy's a motivator. He's all about that process, 24/7. You can't do that in the pros. You can only do that in college. Is the dynasty over? No, the dynasty's not over. Is it getting harder? Yes. Is it getting tougher? Yes, absolutely. And it's not going to get any easier anytime soon. And Nick can blame all the things he wants to, but the fact is Ken laid it out there. I mean, people are catching up. It's bound to happen. It always happens. I don't care if you're a nation. I don't care what you are. You don't stay on top forever. Nobody ever stays on top forever. All good things got to come to an end.
That's true.
Let's pick some games before we get out of here, partner. And let's start outside the SEC, because it's critical to the college football playoff. TCU goes to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns. I want to pick this one first.
Go ahead.
You know I love Texas. I'm always picking Texas. I overrate Texas. I overpick Texas because I always think they're better than they are. But this year, I think they're pretty good. And this year, I think they knocked TCU out of the college football
like
playoff.
it. Give me Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns. That's a tough place to play. You know, that Billy Ray Cyrus mullet of his hanging out the back of his football helmet. Give me the Longhorns in the upset to knock TCU out this week of the college football playoff picture.
LSU and Arkansas. Arkansas coming off the worst loss of the Sam Pittman era. They lost to Liberty. LSU coming off the biggest win since 2019 when they won the national championship. Trap game.
Yes, it is.
Watch the Arkansas Razorbacks here. I think they got a real chance to upset the LSU Tigers and put Alabama right back in to the running for the college football playoff, for the SEC championship, for all that stuff. I'm going to pick LSU because on paper they're better. But I'm going to watch this game because I think the Hogs have a chance.
That's a great pick. This is the Battle of the Boot. This has always been a big-time rivalry game between LSU and Arkansas. Look, Arkansas wounded hog mode. They got beat by Liberty, this past weekend. LSU, Mike the Tiger, euphoric. Humongous win, last play of the game, 32-31 over Alabama in overtime. This spells trap game. Watch out. LSU's on a roll right now, though. They beat Ole Miss 45-20. They beat Alabama after a bye week. I think they're going to take care of business. But a doomsday scenario here would be this. If LSU lost and still got into the SEC championship game as a 3-loss team, because they've got to lose 2 games for Alabama to get in because they own the head-to-head tiebreaker. They also beat Ole Miss. A 3-loss SEC champ, if they would lose to Arkansas and beat Georgia, what would the college football committee do in that scenario? Wow.
Take Georgia and Tennessee would be my guess.
Probably so.
Missouri at Tennessee, 11 o'clock. CBS going to show 2 games this week. And the first one is the Missouri-Tennessee in Knoxville. Vols obviously disappointed coming off that loss. You know, they're hearing about it and getting a lot of work in this week. Missouri, they're just not very good. There's no way they should stay with Tennessee.
There's no way they should stay with Tennessee, but I say beware of all fans. It's an 11 o'clock start in Neyland Stadium.
As if that's a problem for Tennessee. Did you see the LSU game?
I did, but I think this could be a difficult game just because of the physicality that Tennessee endured. They had several players banged up, including their running backs in that game. You know, Tillman, his ankle a little bit high. They got hit hard. They're going to bounce back. I think they're going to win, but I think this is going to be a tough football game, and it could go into the fourth quarter. Shockingly. It could go into the fourth quarter.
You know, nothing surprises me. Nothing would surprise me.
Beware.
To be honest with you.
I'm just saying, it's beware. Eli Drinkwitz.
I want a 1-point win. That's all I'm asking for. Bama at Ole Miss in Oxford. Can Bama rebound, or can Ole Miss clinch their spot as the number 2 team in the SEC West and get a great bowl game?
All the intangibles favor Ole Miss in this game. They're coming off a bye week. Lane Kiffin's never beaten Saban. He was the former offensive coordinator at Alabama. I think this is a dangerous game for Alabama. I just don't see how Nick Saban can get Alabama stoked for this game. In Oxford, the Grove is going to be madness on Saturday. I hate to do this against my team, but I'm going to pick Ole Miss to upset Alabama by 6 points Saturday.
You always pick against Alabama.
I'm picking them to lose this week.
I'm picking them to win because I never pick against Alabama. I never pick against Alabama. I don't care where they go. Ole Miss, Alabama's just going to look like Alabama. And Ole Miss will find a way to mess it up. It's just too much pressure there on the home field. Georgia at Mississippi State.
Georgia, Mississippi State. I'm going to have to go with the Bulldogs. I would love to see the Fighting Leaches win that game in an upset.
They're both Bulldogs.
Yeah, well, they are the Bulldogs, but Georgia is the Bully Dogs. They're the more physical team. They're more talented. They're going to win this game, but I would like to see a close matchup.
Georgia coming off the highest high of the year. They're number 1. They know how to be number 1. But the Fighting Leeches, the Mississippi State Bulldogs in Starkville, Mississippi, upset the Georgia Bulldogs
go there
and knocked them off the throne of the college football playoff. Mississippi State in the upset.
Shocker.
Texas A&M at Auburn.
Texas A&M at Auburn. Oh, man.
The hapless bowl.
I'm going to go with Carnell Williams, man, to win his first game as interim head coach and them to pull the shocker at home. I think, you know, A&M's kind of in the same state Alabama is right now from a psyche standpoint. They might just throw the towel in on this one.
I think they've already thrown the towel in.
They have already thrown the towel in. They definitely have thrown it in, so I'm going to take Auburn to win that game.
I'll go with Auburn as well. Like I said, they almost won last week. I think they win this week. South Carolina at Florida.
Florida.
Yeah,
that big win last week, 41-24 against A&M. They ride that.
You know, I might take South Carolina if they were playing in the greatest atmosphere in college football in the nation, but they're not. They're going to the swamp, and that's where they're going to get beat.
Tennessee's going to see that greatest atmosphere in 2 weeks.
Vandy at Kentucky.
But, you know,
21-17, right?
Yeah, why not? That's a score that Kentucky always placed at 24-20. 21-17.
All right, and then finally Monday Night Football tonight, the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Vols South, otherwise known as the New Orleans Saints.
Give me Alante Taylor and the New Orleans Saints. The Coffee County product is playing fantastic football at cornerback as a rookie. from the Tennessee Vols, Alante Taylor. Watch him tonight against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Give me the Saints in the upset.
Of course, New Orleans has Marquez Callaway, Shy Tuttle, multiple former Vols on that team. But the Ravens are really tough on defense.
They're physical.
And New Orleans they just don't quite have it this year.
Hey, Scott, got to give
Baltimore.
a shout out here. I'd like to thank Mike the Tiger for joining us. He's 21 years old. My good friend Chris Sales, this was his son James, who's 20. He's a sophomore pitcher at MTSU, having another great year there. He donated this for our prop today. He's the biggest LSU Tiger fan that I know in the world. And so congratulations to LSU and Chris, and thanks for letting Mike the Tiger join us here on Go Ball Sports Episode 7.
That's going to do it for this week. For Big Daddy Dave and Ken Keller, I'm Scott Chastain. Be good to each other.